My goodness, Colorado football shocked me this past weekend. We've heard nothing but non-stop hype for Coach Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, but no one actually thought they'd live up to it. Not only did they live up to it, but they beat TCU and have some of the best players in college football. At minimum, most exciting. Travis Hunter is a two-way star, Shedeur Sanders could be a legit Heisman contender, and Dylan Edwards is the best freshman in college football. The guy was absolutely insane against the Horned Frogs, had highlight play after highlight play, and today, I want to talk about who he is. He was originally committed to two different schools, knew Coach Prime from the time he was in elementary school, and is now the Buffalo's next great playmaker. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe if you love college football content, leave a like if you want to support today's video, and let me know what topic I should cover in my next one. Now let's get started and talk about Dylan Edwards. So this past weekend, Edwards made Colorado history in multiple ways. He was named 24/7's Freshman of the Week, as he had 4 total touchdowns, which was the best in college football, and had insane highlight level plays to help Colorado win. But let's first go back in time. Prime and Dylan Edwards go way back. Edwards was once a participant in Coach Prime's Truth Youth program, and Sanders said he coached Dylan at a young age at 7 years old, meaning he was in elementary school. Dylan had plenty of others to look up to as well, as his father Leon was a star running back in high school before he eventually played at Kansas State and got into the coaching world. From a young age, Dylan played all sports, as he played track, football, baseball, and basketball, but football was the one thing he really wanted to do, just like his dad. Dylan said, quote, "My dad was a tremendous athlete. That's where we got the football gene and just being athletes in general." Dylan would eventually blossom in the youth league as he'd play flag football, and his dad knew he was special early on. He said, quote, "It was a 28 pitch and he took it back for 92 yards. That's when I knew this kid was different." He'd eventually arrive at Derby High School near Wichita and quickly became a star there. As a sophomore, Edwards averaged nearly 9 yards per carry, running for 1,800 yards and 25 touchdowns. A year later, he broke a legendary record. He said, quote, "I also broke Barry Sanders' record at the time. This was my junior year of high school, so it's been fun to have these roots." Edwards eventually became a 4-star recruit and one of the top running backs in all of high school football. The guy was absolutely insane while at Derby High School, as in his career, he ran for more than 6,400 yards with 100 touchdowns in 36 games. His best season came as a junior, as he finished at 2,600 yards, and he was named the Kansas Gatorade Football Player of the Year. He was a hot commodity on the recruiting trail, and with his dad going to K-State and the Wildcats having success with Deuce Vaughn, he would decide to commit alongside 4-star in-state quarterback Avery Johnson. This was going to be a monumental class for Chris Klieman, but it didn't last long. He was set to be a Wildcat, but then would decommit from them on July 29th. A week later, he committed to Notre Dame. He had gotten his dream offer to Notre Dame and loved the vision that Coach Freeman and Delon McCullough had for him. He was all set to be a part of the Irish's class, but they already had 2 running backs committed, and some thought he was starting to look elsewhere. Then, he shocked the world. Before everyone knew that Deion was leaving Jackson State for Colorado, there were a few people who knew this was coming. Dylan Edwards was one of them. He said, quote, "About a week before the announcement, he called me and said, 'We're making a switch, and we want you to come with us.'" Edwards said he was somewhat skeptical at first, but Prime knew what he was doing. Edwards said, quote, "Sanders was like, 'Well, you're not just going to come visit. We're to get you to commit.' I was like, alright, sure enough." Edwards visited, committed, and then signed his national letter of intent with the Buffs. After playing for Sanders as a 7-year-old, Edwards was enjoying his new journey. At the time, he was the 12th highest rated recruit to ever sign with Colorado and was going to be an instant impact player. He had 36 scholarship offers, including 22 from Power 5 schools, but after 2 commitments, he was now headed to Colorado with sky-high expectations. He said, quote, "I want to become a freshman All-American, and I want to get on the field and show my talents." He did in fact have the talent, as according to 24/7 Sports, Edwards was a 4-star recruit, the number 11 running back, and the 174th best player in the class of 2023. So, how would he do at Colorado? Well, when he arrived, he got a ton of hype at a position he didn't play, and that was receiver. With his speed, many thought he would transition well to the receiver spot, but that's not what he wanted. He said, quote, "I gotta get down the running back before I can become a receiver." His speed, as I said, was insane, as he posted a 4.39 40-yard dash time and ran 23 miles per hour according to their GPS system. This past weekend, Colorado played against TCU, and their leading receiver wasn't a wide receiver, but was in fact their true freshman of Dylan Edwards. Their offensive coordinator, Sean Lewis, used Edwards to exploit TCU's defense. In that game, he ended up having 5 catches for 135 yards and 4 total touchdowns. This included a 75-yard screen pass, which eventually won them the game at the end. Edwards became the first player in Colorado history to score 4 times in a Buffs debut, and just the second freshman ever to reach the end zone 4 times in any game. The last time that happened was 2013. But Edwards knew this was possible. He said, quote, "You don't come into a game thinking you're going to have a certain stat line, but I knew if I prepared myself well and executed all the right plays that I could score today, and it just happened. I knew I could make plays out there, and I was prepared well, so when I got the ball, I just did my thing and tried to get to the end zone." It was only the 6th time in Colorado history that a player has ever caught in 3 touchdown passes in one game, and Coach Deion said, quote, "Dylan Edwards was phenomenal. I've been saying this since he was 4 years old, and we see that in practice all the time. Don't let the size fool you. Dylan looks in the mirror and sees a 215-pound man who's 6'4". That's the way Dylan addresses life." To add to the accolades, Edwards became the first true freshman running back to start the season opener since 1991, and the first to start at all since 2015. He finished the day with 4 total touchdowns, which was the most amongst any player in Week 1. He was named 24/7 Sports Freshman of the Week, and now will hope to lead Colorado to a big-time season and become one of the best freshmen we've seen in a long time. But what do you guys think? What do you think of Dylan Edwards? What do you think of this Colorado hype? And what freshman or player should I cover next? Be sure to let me know down below. Leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.